Joining us now is Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, chairman of the Senate Ethics Committee. And, you know, I listened to this argument today, both of the arguments, and I'm not even a lawyer. And those lawyers, Mr. Castor and Mr. Schoen, sounded like they didn't prepare, like they woke up this morning and said, oh, we have to go and do an impeachment defense, and just talked off the top of their heads. And you even had a lot of Republicans say that. We had Garrett Haake on earlier, who's been talking to them, and they were like, ooh, they stunk up the place. Here is Texas Senator John Cornyn. This is what he told NBC News. He said, the president's lawyer just rambled on and on. I've seen a lot of lawyers and a lot of arguments, and that was not one of the finest I've seen. You know, CNN's reporting Ted Cruz also was like, ooh, bad. Cassidy did flip his vote. But most of these senators who are telling reporters that they thought Trump's defense team was terrible still voted for the terrible defense team. I don't understand it. Have you talked to any of these guys? Have they explained that to you?
Joy, I have. I've talked to a couple of Republican senators, and I got to tell you, listening to those two, this was the Four Seasons landscaping of the legal profession. This was some of the weakest argumentation I've ever heard, particularly the first one. I mean, just on and on and on without any clear focus or purpose. I see a senator up there. He's from Pennsylvania. I see another senator up there. He's from Pennsylvania, too. I mean, this was bad. This was just bad legal argumentation. Not well-founded, not well thought out, not very compelling. And then the second, Doug Schoen, he simply replaced with volume what the first guy lacked in argumentation. And in total, it's hard to believe that anybody bought their constitutional argument. I thought that the House managers who presented today made a focused, concrete, compelling argument, and they had the citations from more than 150 constitutional law professors and scholars, from conservative to progressive, to back them up. So I would score the first round as an overwhelming win for the House managers, and I frankly have questions about how anyone could have voted today that this was an unconstitutional proceeding, given the argumentation we heard.
I mean, they had a top guy from the Heritage Foundation. They had Jonathan Turley. You know, they literally lined up conservatives. They went to textualism, the original text of the Constitution. It was incredible that anyone could have voted the other way, but they did. You were sitting in the gallery. There's been some reporting that some of the senators weren't actually paying attention when Congressman Raskin gave this just eloquent, brilliant performance, and when the video was being played. Could you see from where you are whether the Marco Rubios of the world, that Ted Cruz was in the video, by the way, and Josh Hawley was in the video, were these guys watching the video?
Well, one of my colleagues who I could see was just reading a book during the entire proceeding. She'd brought a novel, I think, and was simply reading that. I found the video presentation of the events of January 6th gripping and compelling, concise, and frankly, chilling. And the idea that that should be our future, that it should be okay for a president on his way out of office to deploy the sort of incendiary rhetoric and to encourage the kind of violence that we saw here in the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, that to me is just fundamentally unacceptable. And we need to keep at this. We need to keep working to find a way to hold Donald Trump and those who incited these riots accountable.
You know, one of the things I found remarkable about Mr. Schoen's argument was that Democrats are doing this because they don't want to face Donald Trump on a future ballot. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, they want to keep him from running for president again because he sparked an insurrection against our government. We wouldn't say, you know, a foreign terrorist leader should get to come back into the United States and do it a second time. I didn't understand that. How do you go forward and serve with people on the other side of the aisle, including people like Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz, who may see a precedent in this that they could use should they get to be the next Donald Trump? Are you concerned about serving essentially with insurrectionists?
Well, Joy, what is concerning to me is that Donald Trump started as an unconventional president, someone who had no previous public service, and who from his first day as a candidate was using language and rhetoric and themes and imagery that violated some of our core values. As you remember, his opening speech as a candidate was accusing folks from other countries of horrible acts. Let me just stop there and not repeat his opening claims. And over the arc of his presidency, he got more and more and more disruptive, unconventional, authoritarian, someone who did not respect any of the boundaries of the presidency. And we now sit in trial on President Trump's record because of how far he went. If we fail to hold him accountable this time, I absolutely agree with you. One of my core concerns is that one of my colleagues running for president in 2024 will simply improve on President Trump's performance and will move forward this idea that a president is unconstrained by the limits of the Constitution, doesn't have to respond to requests or subpoenas from Congress, doesn't have to respect the traditions of the office, can simply disrespect and disregard journalists, jurists, and our civil society traditions. We are, I think, in some ways, reaping the whirlwind from having failed to convict President Trump in the impeachment trial of a year ago, which made him feel more and more comfortable doing whatever it took to try and hang on to power after the 2020 election. If we fail to hold him accountable in this impeachment trial, I think the precedent we set is a terrible one for our democracy and for democracy globally.
Indeed, Senator, we would be one corrupt local official away from sort of a president for life. You're absolutely right. It is dangerous, whether it's Trump or a smarter version of Trump. Senator Chris Coons, thank you so much for being here this evening. Really appreciate your time.